Nap transitions can be tricky at the best of times, but throw in an early morning wake and that's a recipe for disaster. Today I am answering your sleep question. We have dropped the third nap, but now my little one is waking really early. Why? And in this video, I'm going to talk you through that third nap transition and why that might be causing your little one to wake with the larks. Hi, I'm Nicky. I'm one of the founders of Little Ones and mother to 3 beautiful children. At Little Ones, we're passionate about helping your little ones and you lock in excellent sleep habits now and for years to come. So if you'd like a hand helping your little one through nap transitions, sleep regressions, early waking, you name it, make sure you visit us at www.littleones.co. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications so you get notified whenever we release new videos, which is all the time. In the description box below, I'm going to pop a bunch of links to articles and resources for you. We have an incredible library of resources, including our own white noise tracks, which are super popular across all streaming services, and they definitely help your little ones to settle easier and sleep better. Tell us in the comments below, how has your little one done with their nap transition from 3 down to 2 naps? We would love to hear from you. And we will also jump on and answer any tricky questions you might have. So let's talk about that transition from 3 naps down to 2. This will happen somewhere between 6 and 8 months for your little one. And I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty details of how you know when it's time to drop that nap. There are a lot of resources which I will link below which can help you with that decision and knowing if it's the right time. But when your little one is ready to drop down from 3 naps a day down to 2 naps a day, we generally look at losing that last late afternoon nap. So that can mean that there's quite a big period in the afternoon that your little one is now awake for, that they are just not quite used to. So if your little one is a little one's baby, or if they're on a short nap, long nap structure, then you're likely seeing them take quite a small nap in the morning, a really nice, long, decent nap around the middle of the day, and then you're trying to lose that last little nap in the late afternoon. This is always going to be a period of adjustment. So your little one has to get used to the new sleep arrangement. They have to get used to a little bit more daytime sleep, because obviously we're endeavoring to have better nighttime sleep by dropping this nap. So there is a little bit of recalibration there. This period of adjustment normally only lasts a week or 2 to still sometimes need that extra little power nap thrown in the afternoon if they've napped poorly during the day, if they're sick, if they're extra tired for some reason. So it is a couple months of adjustment, a little bit of trial and error, but we would hope that the nap structure isn't starting to interfere with that early morning. So if that's the case for your little one, let's look at why that might be happening. So if your little one has successfully dropped that late afternoon nap for more than a week, then and they're still waking early in the morning, a little bit longer than we would expect for that sleep to recalibrate. And early morning waking is generally, assuming you can rule out that the sun's not streaming into their room, that the noisy neighbours getting up to start their day aren't waking your baby, or that your baby's not cold or hungry. That early morning wake is generally due to 2 key things: overtiredness and undertiredness. And those both are to do with your little one's nap structure during the day. Unfortunately, it can be a bit tricky to figure out which one of those 2 things is affecting your little one. It can be a bit of trial and error, a bit of tweaking their nap structure to get it right and figure it out. So I'll give you some tips. So during this period of adjustment, to prevent overtiredness, you've got a couple options. You can use either or both. We would recommend letting your little one sleep 15 minutes longer at their lunchtime nap. So their lunchtime nap is heading somewhere between 2 to 2.5 hours. And or depending on what time that nap ends, you can also bring bedtime 30 minutes earlier just to combat that overtiredness while they're getting used to that nap structure. So if your little one's bedtime is normally 7, bring it forward to 6:30. Don't be scared. A lot of people are scared of an early bedtime because they think it's going to encourage or exacerbate an early morning wake. Interestingly, it usually has the opposite effect. So to start with, during the transition period, you'll be looking to have that last chunk of awake time from the midday nap until bedtime to be about 3 hours and 45 minutes. If you're already doing that and your little one is still waking early in the morning, and you've ruled out those other factors I quickly mentioned, it could be that they are still a bit overtired. And I might try reintroducing that third nap back into the mix. A short little 15-20 minute power nap, just to see if that breaks them out of that overtired cycle. And then of course you can look at reducing that and bringing bedtime earlier a little bit later on once they're out of that early wake habit. On the flip side of the coin, if you've dropped the nap a little while ago and your little one has started waking early in the morning, it might mean that they are undertired, which means they need a little bit more awake time in the afternoon between that lunch nap and bedtime. So I would be looking to pull that lunchtime nap back to just 2 hours and keep their awake time between waking up from that nap and going to bed at night 4 hours and no less, because your little one is getting older. They're developing at a really rapid rate. They're going to start needing some more awake time, and perhaps they're waking early in the morning because they've already had enough sleep. As your baby is getting closer to the 8 months end of this transition scale, you might need to put in a little bit more awake time too, and I would look at extending their last awake period to 4 hours and 15 minutes, especially if they dropped the afternoon nap quite early, quite closer to 6 months old. So that hopefully gives you a couple of ideas to use with a little bit of trial and error, to be honest, and figuring out how to slightly tweak your little one's nap structure to try and avoid that dreaded 5 a.m. wake. I'll just expand a little bit on some of those other early morning hacks that I talked about briefly earlier. And this will apply to a baby or a toddler of any age, regardless of whether they're going through a nap transition or not. So as I mentioned, make sure their room is totally dark. In a lot of countries around the world, it can definitely start getting quite bright in the morning around 5 a.m., between 5 and 6 a.m. And any sunlight creeping through our windows at that point is going to create a body clock trigger in your little one. And so their body's going, oh, look, it's daytime. And we all have this incredible circadian rhythm that is very hyper responsive to influences like the light and the dark. So the sun is going to be like a big alarm clock to your little one saying, wake up, wake up. And if you don't want to get up at 5 a.m., think about looking at ways that you can make their room a little bit darker, so you're not getting those cracks of pesky sunlight coming through at that time. This is also the time of night when it can be really cold. I know in New Zealand, where we live, this is definitely the coldest time of night, actually. It's right before the dawn. And so when my little ones were little ones, I always had a heater on a timer or a thermostat, so it will come on maybe around 4 a.m. in the morning just to warm up their room a little bit, and that definitely helps with staving off that pesky 5 a.m. wake because they've gotten cold. So if your little one is still waking at 5 a.m., because this can really quickly become a habit, it only takes a couple of days of that early wake for it to be locked in as a habit wake. If they're already doing that, just listen to how your baby is responding in their crib. If they're happy lying there, if they're just chatting or babbling away to themselves, there's no harm in leaving them just to lie in their crib for a while longer, because any light, communication or food, these are all the body clock triggers. And so if your child is receiving any of these things at that time, that is going to start triggering and encouraging a body clock response for that 5 a.m. wake. So just listen to them. If they're happy lying there, leave them, and they might go back to sleep on their own. If they're getting really upset, just use your judgment. Depending on the age of your baby, you might want to use your voice to reassure them and soothe them. You might want to go in and feed them. You might want to give them some quick physical reassurance. Just use your judgment, because it will depend where on your sleep journey you are with your little one. 5 a.m. is not morning. That needs to be your mentality. It is not the time we start our day. And so if you think of it like a night wake and try and sort of do what you would do in a night wake to get your child back to sleep, even if they're able to go back to sleep for another 45 minutes or an hour, you're retraining their body clock, and hopefully you're going to move away from that 5 a.m. or that really early start pretty soon. All of this information, All of these methods, in a lot more detail, are housed inside our comprehensive app, the Little Ones app. So make sure you check it out. We have baby tracker, like a sleep diaper feed tracker. We have evolving schedules. We have tons of methods. We have advice, information. We have certified sleep consultants available all around the world for you, so you can ask your questions, you can get guidance when you need it, and we would absolutely love to help you with whatever sleep challenge you are experiencing at the moment. I hope that's helped answer your question about that tricky 3 to 2 nap transition. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll talk to you again soon.